Hi Griffin families, I'm Miss Roper and I'm the English teacher in Year 5. So I just thought I'd discuss what we are going to be doing in English over this autumn term. So we have a big whole school focus on reading. We are pushing reading, so reading records will be back. We will be sending those home with the children, and we will be emphasising the importance of reading, as we always have been. However, we are just making sure that is embedded within our school. Within our lessons, our focus is Who Let the Gods Out. This links really nicely with our topic, which is groundbreaking Greeks for this half term. Throughout this reading, our reading sessions, we will be allowing the children to discuss what they are reading. So we'll be using retrieval skills, inference skills, looking at the vocabulary that the author uses, and they will embed this into their learning, and we will see in their books they are currently answering a lot of comprehension questions, which is going really well. They will justify their answers, so within their discussions we will have partner discussions, whole class discussions, and they'll be able to improve their understanding of what they're reading within these discussions, including how they are getting their inferences, how they are making their predictions, etc. They are also going to be taking key details from the fiction they're reading. So for example, our book, we are currently creating character maps. This is also in preparation for their writing. So these character maps are allowing them to delve deeper into the book, into creating their inferences, into their retrieval skills, and they are applying this to their writing later on. In terms of writing for English, we are going to write for a range of purposes, and they are going to also have a range of genres. So the writing we will complete this term will include diary entry, which we have begun planning out now. We will have some poetry. We will also have descriptive narrative using dialogue. This will be using Who Let the Gods Out. And we will also eventually be creating newspaper reports based on the book. They will be continuing to recognise and embed Year 5 and 6 vocabulary. So this is implementing the spellings, recognising the spellings as well. So when we look through our model texts, they should be able to pick out the Year 5, 6 vocabulary and then apply it to their own work. We will be using dictionaries and thesauruses to check spellings of words. We've already begun doing that as we're reading through the book. The children will pick out any unfamiliar vocabulary, and then we'll use dictionaries to discuss the vocabulary. They will continue to write increasingly legibly and fluently, so handwriting practice is consistent throughout English. Throughout Year 5 really, we have already started with our transition work. The children are improving their handwriting. We're also implementing some tasks where they're improving their spelling, and this will help them when it comes to our big writes to just get the children used to writing for a long period of time. We're also going to build cohesion using a range of devices. So the children have already begun grammar lessons within English, so we've looked at fronted adverbials, we are looking at parenthesis, relative clauses, using a range of punctuation. So when it comes to the writing, the children will be able to implement this into their big writes, and hopefully we'll see steady progress throughout the autumn term, ready for the next term. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Year 5 Griffin families. I'm Mrs Quick, and I'm to talk to you about maths. I teach maths throughout Year 5, and I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing for the rest of the term, right up until Christmas. This is going to involve things like place value and number, and the children are looking at that at this moment in time anyway. They'll be learning to read and write and compare numbers to 1,000,000 and count forwards and backwards in steps of powers of 10. They're going to be rounding any number to the nearest 10, 100, 1,000 and 100,000. And I'm going to give you an example of that now. When we talk about rounding, this is the one that some people find quite tricky. When we're rounding, if I've got, for example, the number 4,627 and I want to round it to the nearest 10, we're going to look at the tens column. Okay, so we've got the tens here. I'm going to put a circle around that to remind me. Now the number that actually then will make the decision, if you like, whether what we round it to is this one here, the 7, the ones column. If that 7 is above 5, if the number is above 5, then you round the number up. If it's below, you round it down. In this instance, it's a 7, it's higher than 5, so we're going to round that 2 to a 3. So that would become 4,603 there. The 7 would then become a 0 because it's to the nearest 10. The same with 100. If we're dealing with rounding 100s, then I'm going to put a circle around my hundreds and now look at the 2. Now in this instance, the 2 is lower than 5. So that means that I round that number down. Now if we're rounding down, we don't touch this number at all. So we're going to be going 4,600 and then these two numbers will become zeros. The same with 1,000. I'm going to look at the thousands column here. I've got a circle around that. Underline the 6. Here again, we've got a number that is higher than 5. Because it's higher than 5, I'm then going to round that 4 up. The 4 becomes a 5, and then we follow it with zeros. The children will get better at this the more they practice, and we'll be dealing with bigger numbers as well. So by the time we finish, they'll be rounding numbers up to 100,000. After that topic, we are moving on to addition and subtraction, where one of the things that we will cover is adding and subtracting whole numbers with more than 4 digits. We do addition all the way through school, but we get more numbers and more digits as we progress through the years. Now we're moving on to 5, and it couldn't be easier. The children just use a formal method. They'll use the column method, make sure that everything's lined up. 8 add 1 is 9, 7 add 2 is 9, 9 add 2 is 11, so we'll put the 1 there and then carry 1 underneath. 2 and 1 is 3, add 1 is 4, 6 and 3 is 9. Simple. Same here, this time I'm going to take away. 8 take away 1 is 7, 7 take away 2 is 5, 9 take away 2 is 7, 2 take away 1 is 1, and 6 take away 3 is 3. Simple. Some children will find this easier than others, and if they do have any difficulties, we've got lots and lots of different resources that they can use to help them with that. Our last example that I'm going to give you now is multiplication and division. We're going to be identifying multiples and factors, including factor pairs. Factors sounds really difficult, but it actually isn't. Factors, for example, 8 times 9 is 72. Simple. However, 8 times 9, those two numbers there, they are factors of 72. Okay? 72 itself is the multiple of 8 and 9. So that's all that means. The factors are the numbers that go into that number, and the multiple is what these two multiplied together make. Finally, before Christmas, we'll be venturing into fractions. We're doing lots of different fractions, including comparing and ordering fractions whose denominators are multiples of the same number. I'll go more into that at a later time. If there's anything that we've discussed that you think your child might need a bit more help on, or if you want to know anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you.